All right,
What's
Princeton.
gonna happen?
I want you to know we're gonna put on a show. We're both gonna show up. We're both gonna make weight. No excuses. And we're not gonna lay and pray, right? We're gonna give the crowd what they want, and they want violence. We're gonna get that belt of Paso. Bring it home to the Yokai. Be ready.
Welcome back to Sun City SITREP. My name is Deshawn Johnson, and today we have a returning guest for the third time, James Pleasant. First time he was with David. Last time he was with Jaime. And next time you get me. We get two black people sitting up here.
Oh, we starting it off strong.
Yeah, Sun City SITREP. Nah, Moonlit Food Bar. That's what we are right now.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Is that a thing we could do?
Yeah, just keep it rolling, man.
Moonlit Food Bar?
It's crazy because I was like, I wonder if they're gonna keep it PC. And then we was making that joke like politically correct, and I'm like, no, people of color. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, that's funny.
But yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie. I was ready to go to your fight. Like, I don't even normally go to fights. The first fight that I ever been to was Stephanie Hans. And I was excited to go to yours, but they canceled. Can you tell me why they canceled it? Like, tell everyone why they canceled it.
First off, Stephanie Han's amazing. Shout out to her. Everybody go watch her fights. Watch her, look her up. I'm sure you guys got all her info, or you can find it after this link. But
yeah.
So I was supposed to be fighting in Las Cruces. I can't even remember the date now, but I was supposed to be fighting in Las Cruces in sometime in September, I believe. And it was supposed to be to maintain my belt, right? Because the last time I came on this podcast, or the previous time, excuse me, I was fighting for a belt in New Mexico to be #1 pro champ of the lightweight division. That's 155 for the Southwest Brawl, which is under the AFL, right? And then so I was supposed to defend that belt, but you know, the whole event got canceled. They told us maybe about 2 weeks beforehand. I got a phone call, and basically they just had issues with the venue, and so it's unfortunate when things like that does happen. But I was very pleased that they told us ahead of time, because sometimes people panic and they don't let everybody know until like maybe like the day of or day before. And at that point, that's when people get real mad, because it's like, I cut weight, I sold tickets, I made t-shirts, I did all this, you know, and then just for it not to happen. And so for 2 weeks before, it was kind of like, okay, I didn't really start the weight cut that much. And I didn't really sell any tickets just yet. You know how El Paso rolls, last minute, everything, you know?
Yeah.
But thank you for everybody who was going to support. Thank you for everybody who was going to go. And I know whenever you have a fight close to home, it just gives you much more of a better feeling. And like, you know, you have the whole community backing you up, versus if I travel out of town or something like that, people are like, well, can I watch a link and this and that? And it's just, you know, people still watch. It's amazing, but it just doesn't give it that same hype. It doesn't give it that same feel as people in the crowd wearing the icky shirts, wearing your fighter banner and all that and all that stuff. Excuse me. Almost.
No worries. I'm the video editor. If you don't know, I'm the video editor. And like when it came to like promoting your fight, like editing your videos and stuff like that, we were uploading them, everything, and then it was just like, oh, the fight's canceled. Do we take the videos down? Or because like we were spending some time on these, and I was just like, they're so good, let's just keep them up.
I had some people tell me, they said, why did you just post this? Like, because the day before I put an announcement, because they told me at first, like, hey, please don't say anything or post anything just yet until we've told all the fighters, all the people, so that way it's not a surprise and they hear it from them first. And so I was being respectful, and, you know, people are like, when's your fight coming up, this and that? And I was like, oh, you know, 2 weeks, let me get a ticket. And I was like, hold up on that, you know. And then finally, like, they said, like, we got the clear to tell everybody. And so I made the post, and then, like, the day after that, I think that's when you guys posted the promotional video we did together. And I was kind of like, well, and people are like, why don't you just take it down? I'm like, people worked hard on this, man. And on top of that, we look good, you know, like it is what it is. People are going to hit us up for tickets anyway. And when they hit us up for tickets, that's when we could explain the story. You know?
But most definitely, like, I was super excited to see Jack fight. Like, first and foremost, because he's first fight of the night, and then, you know, you finish it off. I was so excited to see him fight, because, like, a boxer, like,
he's not just a boxer.
Not just a boxer. I get that. I get that. Not just a boxer, but like when I was seeing him throw them kicks and, you know, all his punches, and then, you know, just an MMA fighter all around, I was so excited to see him fight.
And just his mentality. It's very hard to find people like that, where he's dedicated. You don't have to tell him. He's going to do his stuff on his own. Like, he's like, oh, look, I run on the mountains. We're like, you run on the mountains? And like, and then you came here to practice with us? And then he's just very dedicated and committed. And then he's also a dog. Like, you know, we did our interview and I was keeping it like hee hee ha ha whatever.
Yeah.
And then he comes up and like murder, kill. It's nothing personal. This is just how it is. And I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah, watching his clips like I'm ready for a car crash, and I'm just like, oh, so you're ready to die right now.
He's ready.
I hope this other person's ready to die with him.
That's what I'm saying. So that was the only shame about that, in my opinion. It was just like, damn, you know, because, but you know, he's not discouraged or anything like that. We got another fight lined up for him coming soon, and we'll definitely bring him back so you guys get to see him in action, and then you guys get to hear his viewpoint on everything.
Most definitely.
Let me tell you, it hasn't discouraged him one bit. He's still training hard, getting in that work. And so whoever the next opponent is, you better be worried. Let me tell you right now.
Most definitely. And for you, let's talk about your next fight.
Oh yeah. So okay. So when that happened, you know, of course I was bummed. I was like, so man, I don't even know if I should say this, but I'm gonna let it know anyway. Like the enemy's gonna be like, ooh, yes. So it was kind of like, you know, everything happens for a reason. I was feeling a little bit under the weather. There was a lot going around, like here in the city. There was like people was just getting sick left and right or whatever, and I got sick. And so this was like 2 weeks before that fight was gonna happen. I was coming out of the Upper Valley Urgent Care. Now I gave my location. I was like, scratch that. I was just coming from the doctors. And I was saying, but anyway, I came from the doctor, and then that's when I got the phone call, and I was kind of like, man, I'm bummed. I don't feel well. Like, I'm like, oh, gloomy, whatever, this and that. But, you know, my coach, he's always kind of like, the next big thing. Nothing's going to slow us down, you know?
Most definitely.
My coach, Audie, he's a dog. You know, he's very cool. He's very loyal, you know? We've known each other since we were 15 years old and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah. I met him back when I was 15. I was wrestling in high school, Franklin High School, and I met a guy out there. I mean, I met a guy who was part of the team who said, hey, we're going to go to train MMA, mixed martial arts, UFC. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm in. And he's like, really? I was like, let's go. And so he takes me to this spot, which is the place we train now. And it's called the Hangar, because it used to be basically like this, it used to be a private airplane that this guy had in kind of like his property. And then he took all that out, and then he just turned it to a private gym for all his kids and his family and all that stuff like that. And he would invite the community. And then that's where I met Audie. I met all these other guys. And pretty much these are the same, more or less the same people that to this day that is like, these are my ride or dies, you know what I mean? And they just have that. I was the youngest, of course, and everybody's like older. And, you know, the older mindset was like, we gonna you up every day, you know, kind of that's kind of not the thing anymore. Now it's a little more kind of relaxed, but either way, like you don't find people like that anymore. And that's why, bringing it back full circle, that's why I really like Jack, because he still has that dog mentality where it's like, I'm coming in here to knock you out, but you're still my homie. We still gonna kick it. You know, there's not gonna be nothing personal. You get a lot of people out here, it's like you get one little good combo on them and you could just feel like their feelings are all involved, and now they want to take your head off and they want to permanently damage you. And I'm like, bro, I'm your training partner, bro. Like, why are you gonna permanently damage me? Like, you could just get your lick back and then it'll be cool. And we could, like, you know, be like, oh, you got me, I got you. Oh, my nose is bleeding. Your nose is bleeding too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's not a lot of people have that mentality no more. Everybody's sensitive. You know, I'm sensitive.
No, I feel that.
But anyway, this next fight coming up, November 16th, is going to be Rough MMA in Phoenix, Arizona at the Celebrity Theater. I had to put on that dramatic voice, like boom, 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 boom.
Oh, yeah, we're here for it.
Yeah, so basically, Audie started, he kept looking. And then finally what happened was he got a hold of the promotion out there, and they told him, like, hey, there was this fighter that I was supposed to fight, Princeton Jackson. I want to say earlier in the year, but he had to stop the fight for some medical conditions, and they said that he was back to good normal health, all that, and that he's back on for the fight. And they said, we're going to throw in a belt. And so 2 belts, a belt in New Mexico and a belt in Arizona. How could you say no to that?
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, one door closed, but another one opened. Yeah,
most definitely. Bro, you got to talk to me about Ari just a little bit more, because I know, like, we have him over here, but we should just have him on for the podcast. Like, why not just have you, Jack, me, or whoever just on for the podcast?
I don't know, man. He's pretty wild. Yeah,
we need that wildness on here.
No, he's feral.
No. We need some of that rawness. No. We don't need that PC.
Oh man.
But we need the PC.
So you already look at you.
I feel that.
I feel you already used the joke. But what I will say about him is, like, he's like the yin to my yang. You know what I mean? Like, people are always like, it's like, oh, how could you be so nice? And how could you be so mean? And how could you guys be best friends? And da-da-da-da. And it's like, and it's been like that since the day I met him. I remember the day I met him, he would look at me with these eyes like he's a killer, like he was going to kill me. You know what I mean? And I was like, and I remember telling my dad, I was like, he's like, how was your first day at practice? And I was like, everyone kicked my ass. I got kicked in the head like multiple times and they laughed at me and da-da-da-da. But I kept up. I got up and I kept going for more and all this and that. And then I was like, and he's like, what got in your way? And I was like, I don't know. They would just look at me like crazy and stuff like that. And like, you know, that's when I had to start developing the poker face, and you had to start developing like look through the person, or like, you know what, sometimes but my dad gave me this advice. He's like, look at their chest, and like wherever their chest is going or wherever their hips are going, that's where you know they're going to go. You know what I mean? And I think now, honestly, like when I really look them in the eyes, it's usually like, it's like either when I felt like they're broken, or I feel like I landed a good combo and I'm like, how are you going to react? How are you going to react? And it's kind of like that. You know, there is a lot of intimidation factor there, but you know, there's so much going on everywhere else. Like I'm looking you in the eyes, but I might get kicked in the face because I'm not looking at the kick.
Right.
You know, so anyway, back to how I met him. That's how we met. We've been friends ever since. He moved away, went to college. He did his thing. I called him a gypsy. He was a little bit of a gypsy. Like he's one of those people. It's like random number. It's like you call and it's just like, I got a new number. I'm on the couch here. Someone else. I'm like, you're in this state now. Like what the hell you doing? And then like I remember too. It was my amateur career and I got my belt. And like because this fool's always on the move, always doing something. Like I couldn't even tell him. You know what I mean? But he eventually called and he's like, I heard da-da-da, congratulations, this and that. And I remember he would come and visit every now and then and it's like, stop everything. Like he's in town. And then I remember he gave me the phone call saying like, I'm going to move back for good. I'm going to start a business in New Mexico, this, that, and the third. And I'm kind of like, you're lying. And he's like, no, I'm back for good this time. And I was like, no, I'm not going to get my hopes up. You're just going to come and then you're going to take off, da-da-da. But no, homeboy stayed. He stayed in town. And then basically I was at this other gym. Things weren't working out. And they just, long story short, it just wasn't the path I wanted to take. And I just felt like, you know, people are like seasons, right? They come and go for different reasons.
Yeah. Ooh,
and
bars.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe at the time where I was at, that was good, but, you know, we definitely diverted ways. And so it was kind of one of those where, you know, what's going to make you happy, or are you going to please other people? And it's like, dude, this is not making me happy, you know? And then this guy over here is always kind of just like, bump the world. Like, it's like, let's get it going. And so we did. And we took it back to the place we met at the hangar. And at this time, this place, nobody had trained there no more. Like there was very little gear and all this and that. And we just little by little invested in it, started bringing people in there. And then I had my first fight with him at the LFA. For LFA, that's a huge promotion. That's a promotion that's a feeder to the UFC. Like one name out of the top of my head is like Sean O'Malley, you know? Oh. Yeah, exactly, right?
Huge name.
A huge name. And then basically we had that fight, and then we just kept tweaking it, kept working on it. And we've already been training now for at least a good 2.5 years, solid with just us. But mind you, he's one of the first training partners I've had in the whole sport. So he knows me on a personal level. He knows my progression. He knows my bad habits, and we just work on them all the time.
Yeah, that's something that we all need. Like that person that we've had for a very long time, that's ride or die. But you got to tell me where y'all are going next, because there's no doubt in my mind.
UFC.
I'm glad you said that. I want you to go to the UFC. Like I see so much potential in you.
Thank you.
But
man.
Leading up to the UFC, how do you feel about? I'm not saying that this is gonna happen, but I feel like this is something that should happen. Ultimate Fighter,
like you know, I wouldn't be opposed to anything like that. Like Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter, Bellator. Those are all great names. Those are all great organizations. But you know, UFC is like the Olympics of MMA, right?
Yeah.
You know, like there's nothing higher than that. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, but they don't pay as well, or they don't take care of the fighters as well. This, and that. And it's like, I want to go to UFC. I want to be the best in the world, you know? And I ain't gonna lie, or I'm not gonna lie, excuse me. I'm not gonna lie, the 155 right now is super stacked. It's super stacked. So it's like, there's gonna be a lot of roadblocks ahead, and you need people that you're like, are you with me or not? You know what I mean? And no games, none of this kind of like, oh yeah, this is for all of us, but it's really for you. And it's like, dude, like, you know what I mean? And I get it. It's a very selfish sport, because it's not like football or basketball where you got a team, you know, where it's kind of like, oh, you could blame that person because he dropped the ball, or you could blame this one player, this and that. It's like, it's all the pressure's on me. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't matter if I didn't have a good camp, or if I didn't have a good training partner, if I didn't have good coaching, or get this and that. At the end of the day, it's all on me. You know, I got to execute, you know? And so I do understand that it does take a lot of sacrifice and commitment. So I really appreciate Adi and all the other people who've been helping. And he's not the only one, but he's definitely the main one, you know?
Do you have a roadmap? Because I know if you don't plan, you're planning to fail. You feel me?
Thank you. And you know what? I'm the type, and we had this conversation on that first podcast I had
Mm-hmm.
with David, where I am definitely like, we're yin and yang, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and this is where I take more of like the negative side of things. I'm always like risk mitigation. I'm always like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Let's plan for that. And then he's always more like, nah, let's look at the most ideal situation possible. Don't even think about the negative. And I think that's where we have our perfect balance, because it's like, okay, well, I'll plan for this and you'll plan for that, but we always keep in mind, like, we're going for the best no matter what happens, you know? And I'm the type of person, like, you know, 90% of the time nothing ever goes to plan, right? We all know
Right.
this. We all know that nothing ever goes to plan. But whenever you do plan for things, they just happen so much better. And things, a lot of the time when you do plan, things exceed your expectations, which is just amazing. And I would say the roadmap right now is get as many finishes as possible, as many wins as possible, and they have to be entertaining. You know,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're entertainers. It's entertainment, you know? And I think I said in one of the last podcasts, like, Gladiator is my favorite movie. Adi and I actually just watched it the other day because we were kicking at his place, and I said, he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to watch Gladiator. I was like, I've been watching that movie since I was a little kid, and
Yeah.
like that's like developed who I am now. Like Gladiator, anime, all that stuff. Like, I watch that and I'm just like, I feel empowered. Like, you know, I feel like I could take on the whole world. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be average. I don't want to just be relying on other people. I want to rely on myself, and I want other people to rely on me, because I'm going to be that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was always the mentality as a little kid, you know?
Yeah. You just mentioned anime. Love anime. Mm-hmm. What anime, what's your favorite right now?
Well, that's too hard of a question. I like, me personally, I like the old school animes, like the 90s anime,
Yeah.
like Dragon Ball, boom. And like, even people who don't like anime, they're like, oh, anime stupid, this and that. You say Dragon Ball, like, oh, Dragon Ball, so cool. And this and that. I'm
Yeah.
like, so you do like anime. Oh, that's different. It's not different. There's an anime for everybody, bro. Like, you got the hardcore intense stuff, and then you got the weird stuff, and then you got everything in between. So like, when I was growing up, and my dad, he was always into comics and stuff. So when I was like, I want to watch anime, Toonami, all that, he was with it, you know? And so we would watch like Afro Samurai, even though that's not really an anime, that's like an American style anime. But that was like, my mom's like, you're letting our kid watch this? And I'm like, yeah, he's slicing people up, you know? And then like, so yeah, Afro Samurai, Dragon Ball Z, even Naruto as a little kid. And then like, I was always into like the action animes, like the animes where it's like, people are like pushing their limits. People are disciplined. People are like making sacrifices for their life. And I feel like that's what it means to be a fighter. And, you know,
Exactly.
I'm not hating on the comics or anything like that, because my dad's going to be like, oh, why are you hating on my comics? But I would always, to me, it was always like the Japanese animes were so much different because they earned their stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like Spider-Man, where it's like, oh, I got bit by a radioactive spider and now I'm great. Or it's not like Captain America, where it's like, I took this steroid and now I'm the strongest man in the world. It's like, no, dude, these people failed their whole lives. They were losers. Nobody believed in them. They believed in themselves. They worked hard. They found their small group, and they slowly built little things every day. And then it just turned into something amazing, you know? And I think a lot of people have this mentality when they're like, oh, I'm going to go in the sport because I'm just badass and this and that, but they don't want to put in no work. They just want to be at the top with no work put in, you know? And then they get frustrated because like they didn't get it instantly. And it's like, bro, like, it takes time to make this happen. And, you know, even those people who are just badasses, where it's like, you have like John Jones or whatever, or where they came in very young, they were still badass athletes way before they even got there, you know? And so that's just my mentality. It's just like, work hard.
Yeah, and people don't really see the sacrifices. Can you talk about the sacrifices that you make when it comes to this? And there's another topic that I want to get into, because you don't really hear people talk about it. But like, can you talk about your sacrifices right now?
It's so much sacrifice, man. And that's why I ask these guys, I'm like, why do you want to be a fighter? What's it for? And, you know, you kind of hear it, and it's like, you want an ego booster. You know, that's what I'm hearing from a lot of these guys. It's like, I just want to take one fight. I don't care if I win or lose. I just want to post that I'm a fighter and I'm badass and like da da da. And I'm kind of like, dude, like, get out of here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's cool and all. Like, you want to self-development. You want to prove that. But like, I'm going way beyond that. You know what I mean? I was like, way beyond that. But sacrifices wise, it's like, bro, like I said in the last podcast, Adi and I, we like to go out. We love food and we love to party. We love people. You don't know. Well, I love people.
I feel.
It's like, but the thing is like, it's like, I love to socialize. I like to go out. I love to do things. But as a fighter, it's like, dude, you got a fight coming out. It's like, no, you can't go to that party. No, you can't drink all this and hang out, go to these parties and do all this. It's like, you got to focus. Like, and I love food. I know I'm skinny, but I'm a skinny fat boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, man, I love food, and I can't have it. I'm cutting weight. It's like, I'm cutting weight. And then on top of that, the sacrifice of like training every day, multiple times a day. It's like so many times people are like, oh, let's just hang out and this and that. I was like, after practice. Oh, when's that? It's like, oh, I'll get out at this time. Oh, that's already late and this, that. And it's like, well, okay, well, maybe next time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm focused right now. I'm focused. Man, I don't know how many times I've had ex-girlfriends be like, oh, you're not making me a priority. And I'm like, this is all the free time I have. I work full time. I do fighting. And then I got all my little side missions. I got a lot of side missions. I've been cutting the side missions. Oh, it breaks my heart. Got to cut the side missions.
I feel.
And it's like, this is all the time I have. Like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. I understand, like, if this isn't working, like, go find something that's going to work for you. And I gave an example of this the other day to somebody. I was like, here's an example of sacrifices. Like, my nephew, he's 3 years old. I missed 2 out of his 3 birthday parties. The first one, I was fighting in Arizona. The second one, I was training with Terrence McKinney and Kevin Holland in Dallas. You know, and it's one of those where it's like, dude, this is my nephew, and I can't go to any of his birthday parties, but I'm doing what I love and this and that, and I'm with him all the time, and I love him, but I'm going to miss a big, important part of his life because I'm following a selfish dream, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say it's selfish. It's like most people don't focus on themselves. Like, we need to focus on ourselves, but like, you can't help the world until you help yourself. Like Kendrick said, I love that line so much, but it's like the sacrifices that you make, it has to be for yourself and for the better of like bettering yourself and others.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh man, I remember my coach, like Adi told me that one time. I was like, he's like, you're gonna be a yoga instructor? Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting certified in yoga. And he's like, what? Why? And I was like, I want to help people. I want to help everyone. He's like, how can you help people when you can't even help yourself? And I was like, damn, you know what? You're right. And I was like, but I'm gonna fix me, and then I'm gonna fix you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he showed up to every single one of my yoga classes, every single one for like the first year, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was like, he's like one of those people. I heard this the other day. I was listening to like a podcast or something. The guy was like, people mistake niceness for like, and caring for like something else. You know, for example, if I have a flat tire on the road and then someone says like, oh, you poor thing, have a good one. And they just take off. How much help did they really give? They were polite, but they didn't really help. And then you could have a guy come by like, oh, are you stupid? You don't know how to change a tire? Like, let me help you. Da, 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 da. Don't, blah, 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 blah. They might talk a lot of to you, but they helped you. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of time people are mistaking politeness for niceness. And it's like, you know, and for actually genuine caring about people. It's like, you were polite, but you didn't genuinely care. And, you know, I know you didn't care, you know?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, going back, well, I didn't say this on the podcast, but like I said, I used to play volleyball for like 8 years straight, and the whole goal for me was to eventually go pro.
Right.
And like the sacrifices that I had to make was the people that I was playing with. Like, I was consistently on the same team with a bunch of people, and it came to a point where they were just like, I feel good where I'm at, and I'm just like, well, I don't. So let's go play with these better people. And they're just like, I just don't want to get destroyed. How can you be okay with being down here when you know that there's a place that you could be up there?
Yes, man. And that's exactly what you said. And that's what I loved. That's what I loved being with Audie is like, so many people are just good where they're at. Even if they don't say those exact words, their actions are showing it, you know? And you're kind of just like, dude, I'm not okay just being here. I want to do more. I want to be more. And they're like, we have so much potential. We could do so much. But, you know, I think we're our own self-obstacle. We stop ourselves from doing so much more. And we all love to put the blame on X, Y, Z, this, and that. But at the end of the day, accountability, like if you're having problems, what's the most common denominator? You know what I mean? Like that's the one biggest thing you have control over is you. You know, you don't have control over what he does, she does, he says, they say, or this, whatever that, but you have control over yourself and how much time and effort and discipline you're going to put into yourself, you know? And so that's what I see in a lot of things when going back to the whole, like, that's why I like Jack a lot. I really like Jack a lot. He has what it takes to be like great, you know? And I think most of it is just his mentality.
Right.
And that's the hardest thing to work on, people's mentality, because you can make people strong. You can make people fast, but you can't make people mentally strong if they don't want it. You can't make people have heart if they don't have it. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to want to do this. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be a little crazy to go in there and be like, they're like, you're going in there, let people hit you in the face. I'm like, I'm not letting them hit me in the face. I'm going to hit them. And then, you know, sometimes you get caught. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. You know what I mean? So it's like, it just happens.
Man, let me just tell you something real quick. This is just something that's coming from me. This is nothing that was planned out or anything. I'm just an egoist all around. Do you ever like go into like Walmart and then you just see someone that's like, I could beat the shit out of them?
All the time.
Don't worry, I'm going to delete it. I'll delete that word. But like all the time. I'm not going to lie. When I first met you, I didn't know anything about you. And I was just like, I feel like I could fight him. I feel like I'd take him. But like when I saw you actually fight and I was watching your video, I was like, he would destroy me in 2.2 seconds. Like when I saw that Darce choke, I was just like, he would fold me like a pretzel.
I love that you said it because people ask me all the time, like, you're so nice and this and that. And da-da-da. I'm like, when you know you could just kill anybody at any time you wanted, it's so easy to just be like, let things go. It's like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. And I love, because I'm a people watcher, and I'm a people watcher. I love people, and you could see when they're just kind of like sizing you up and being all like, I could fuck this fool up and blah, blah, this and that. And then it's like, I have this mentality where it's like, let them think you can't afford the bread until they find out you own the bakery. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of just like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You gonna see.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and that's what I feel like most people underestimate you. And there's like these people that are just like taking like hee hee ha ha when they're looking at your videos, all your podcasts.
Right.
Because you're really nice. But wow, you can fight, man. And then like I see you going to the UFC. Like man, let me tell you, from person to person, man to man, black to black, I'm proud of you, man. I'm so proud of you, dude. Like you're a black man from El Paso, and you're doing like you're doing bits.
thank you so
You're doing
much.
things. Like, proud of you.
You know, it's crazy because you never hear that a lot. You never hear it. You don't hear that as much as you should, right? I got a cousin, she tells me the same thing. She's like, you do this, you help your family, you're so good to everybody around you, this and that. Like, who's taking care of you? And I'm like, I'm taking care of myself. She's like, nah, I'm proud of you. And you know, this and that, and like, blah, 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 blah. And I guess I didn't really think of it like that. So she said it's when you put yourself in a position where you're kind of providing for everyone, it does make you feel like you're kind of like, damn, what are you doing for yourself? You know what I mean? And then I know I keep saying it's a selfish sport. It is a selfish sport, but even just, I know that a lot of people are taking their time and their money and their effort to build my dream. And you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, I'm trying to give back as much as I can any way I can. And so it's like, thank you for helping me out. And then like words like that is like, man, you got me all like, you hit the heart, you know?
Yeah, no problem. Like, I see you out here. I see you in the community. You're always doing good things in the community. And it's just like, I'm glad that we have the chance to build this relationship and be, you know, when you come in, we dap each other up. And it's like, at first we're doing like the regular 1-2, and then now we just like dapping each other up, giving each other hugs. And it's like, this is my brother right here. You feel me?
Bro, it was so funny because they was like, oh, DJ's going to do the host your podcast this time. I was like, DJ? And then they said, I was like, I only know his government name. I didn't know he goes by DJ.
Oh, really?
My bad, you know?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. I don't even say that on the podcast. Like, yeah, I say, when Sun City SITREP, I'm Deshawn Johnson. But
That's
like,
what I'm saying. I was like, DJ. They're like, Deshawn. I was like, oh, okay, my bad. I didn't know he goes by DJ.
yeah, most definitely, like, anyone who knows me just calls me DJ. But like, just keeping it cordial.
You know him now. I just told you the secret.
Yeah, you told my secret sauce. And now everyone's going to find me on Facebook, and then they're going to hit me up. It's all good, though. But, bro, I'm so ready for your next fight. How do you see it going?
So with this next guy coming up, Princeton Jackson, he's no joke, man. He comes from Jay Pages, which is like a phenomenal gym out there in Arizona for jiu-jitsu. And this guy is a jiu-jitsu guy. He's like, he loves the floor work. He loves to crash in. I've heard, he's like, well, he's going to be like, watch this podcast and be like, oh, what'd you hear? It's like, I'm sure he's probably working on his stand-up. I was like, let me take a step back. I'm sure he's working on his stand-up. And the last guy was supposed to fight in New Mexico. He came from a phenomenal gym out in New Mexico. Basically, the Jacksons, I think he came from. And that guy was all stand-up. And so it's just definitely two opposite sides of the coin. Like that last fight, I was training for like an all stand-up guy, and now I'm training for a guy who's primarily focused on the floor work. And, you know, so floor work is my bread and butter, but I also got kicks and I got hands. You know what I mean? And so, like, I want to be a well-rounded fighter. And, you know, I also want to be entertaining because, you know, UFC is not going to pick up boring fighters. And so there's a lot of people out there who win all their fights, but if you're gonna do the same lay and pray thing, blah blah blah, and like, you know, I come from a wrestling background, so I'm a wrestler, and that's kind of what we're known for, is the whole lay and pray. It's like I'm gonna rush in, I'm gonna squeeze you, I'm gonna take you down, I'm gonna hold you till the time runs out, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I won that round. It's like, yeah, you won the round, but you know, everyone in the crowd is like kind of just like, okay,
Yeah.
like that's not cool. You know, we want to see damage, we want to see blood, we want to see violence. You know?
Yeah. That's why I wanted to see Jack fight so much. Because like
Yeah.
like I made a lot of his clips, and like I really emphasize, like, bro, this dude can kick, he can punch, and it's like, don't underestimate both of y'all, because like I know y'all come from the same gym, but like one's punching, kicking, and the other one's wrestling. you know these two work together, right? You know that they're both working in the same field. Like, let's remember that for a second. Like,
yes.
we are not going to forget that
And
James can knock you out, but he could also choke you out at the same time.
And that's what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be well-rounded. It's like, it don't matter if we're standing up. It don't matter if we're boxing. It don't matter if it's against the cage. It don't matter if we're on the floor. Like, I'm going to be a weapon. You know what I mean? You better be prepared in all angles, because this is mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
This ain't jiu-jitsu. This ain't boxing. This ain't Muay Thai. This is mixed martial arts. Like, that era of being a specialist is over. Like, everybody, you know, everybody's got hands. Everybody's got floor work. Everybody's got something to bring to the table. And that's what I love about Jack and some of the other guys we brought to our squad. Like, you know, we keep it very small knit. You know, we cross-train, we keep it cool with everybody, this and that, but we keep our small crew very small knit. Yes, very well knit, small, because it's one of those where it's like everyone has something to bring to the table. It's like, okay, you got a phenomenal wrestling career, you got a phenomenal boxing background, you got a phenomenal XYZ. It's like, and whenever we're training, it's always like, this is like, Adi will be like, this is the combo I think is going to beat this guy. Man, this guy studies. Like, he'll look at everything, you know? And he'll be like, he'll look at he watches so many UFC fights. He'll be like, I think this is going to be good for your body type. This is going to be good for your style. What do you guys think? And all of us come from different angles and say like, it could be better here. It's not going to work in this situation. Like, yes, it'll work, but like, that's high risk and da-da-da. And like, you know, we're all giving feedback, all giving input and like building each other up.
I want you to give me a direct-to-camera. I want you to talk to your opponent face-to-face. He's going to look you in your eyes. I want you to look him in the camera eyes.
All right, Princeton.
What's going to happen?
I want you to know we're going to put on a show. We're both going to show up. We're both going to make weight. No excuses. And we're not going to lay and pray, right? We're going to give the crowd what they want, and they want violence. We're going to get that belt, El Paso. Bring it home to the yokai. Be ready.
But yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming out to the show.
No, thank you.
Once again, we just wanted to promote you. But thank you for watching to the audience. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Sun City SITREP. Yeah.